Hey guys, just a slight update from me. As you saw yesterday, I had a sit down with Kurt DeVille from Counterpunch Boxing News, and I brought up the fact of the news that I dropped previously when I sat down with Fred the Barbershop about Wilder getting sick before the fight and potentially could have had COVID. What I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, out of all the excuses, that is something highly possible. It's not impossible, it's very possible. But nonetheless, he still lost the fight. Whatever the reasons was, he lost the fight. Okay. Meaning whatever the reasons was, not like the spiked water and stuff like that. That I still stand by my word at me thinking that it's a possibility. Kurt said that somebody around Deontay Wilder or in his team would have contracted COVID. Now, my point being is that at that time, a lot of people were sick before they even knew about the word COVID. We don't know if anybody around his team didn't get sick and just passed it off as they had the flu, because on top of it, it is flu season in those, Februarys, Marches, Aprils. So I'm just gonna stand by my logical thinking. I don't know if he did for sure, but all I'm trying to say, it's a possibility. And Wilder didn't have his legs from round one. He didn't look correct at all from entering the ring, whether that's due to the costume or whatever. But yeah, I am standing firm on that. It is a proven fact that you can be around people and you contract COVID like myself, and people in my direct family or household tested negative, or even before the tests available didn't have it. But when the tests were available, there were times where people tested in the same house and one person would have it and none of the others would. Now what I'm saying is, Wilder's family, we don't know if anybody got sick within that time and just passed it off as getting sick, having the flu. Mark Breland could have got sick and had the flu. That's for them to reflect on and see about that time. Did they feel not well? We don't know this, so we can't discount that in its entirety. So stand by, I'll just show you a clip of myself and Kurt.
The latest one is white privilege.
I know, but baby, listen, yeah, I absolutely can go with the thing. I started to analyze stuff, right? I think Wilder possibly had COVID. Like, I feel that he possibly did, because I started to look. I rewatched him when he came into the ring. He weren't himself, by the way. There was something wrong. Don't know what it was. But at the end of the day, effectively, he lost, right? This is what I'm saying. Point blank period, you still lost. But when I see how Povetkin came in the second time off of the back of COVID, they exemplified similarities. They didn't have their legs from jump. If you look at Povetkin 2 and look at Wilder Fury 2, same vibe. Weren't all there in the face, didn't look too well, looked a bit disorientated. Wilder was in the hospital January 26th, overnight stay with the flu. Now we've seen Wilder fight with the flu before. He fought with the flu with Luis Ortiz, I believe. One of the fights, he had the flu. And then the first fight with Tyson Fury, he came in at 209 pounds and he had the flu. But both times we saw a win, or and the other one resulted as a draw. What I'm saying is why I believe that Wilder to have it, because I feel that it was brand new. This is February 2020. He's been in the hospital January 24. Why would the flu put him in hospital when he's fought with the flu 2 other times? And then the fight is now February 20 something. In those 3 weeks, we already know that Wilder wasn't the best at going for training. But coming out of hospital, not feeling very well, he definitely didn't really train that much for the first fight because he wasn't feeling well. That's why when you're saying I'm not feeling myself, it probably was COVID. So when you have the after effects of COVID, you feel really tired. I've had it, so I know what it feels like. You feel really tired. So at that point, it wasn't a big hoopla. We did go into lockdown shortly after that fight. But there was, at that time, unless you was a massive celebrity and you had the dollars to go and get a COVID test, the test wasn't even really out then. You know, so I actually believe, out of all of the stupid excuses, that he could have had COVID, you know. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I mean, the only problem with that, I mean, I hear what you said. It sounds like a reasonable explanation for what you're trying to do. But the only problem with that is, or the only problem you run into is the fact that if Wilder had COVID, if he had COVID, are you saying that he had it before and then this was kind of the after effects of that?
Yeah,
Like that's why
yeah.
he was sluggish like
Mhm.
Povetkin was or whatever?
Yeah. Of how I saw Povetkin, it made me think like that. It made me. I saw the similarities off jump. I saw it. No legs under him from round one. Punch resistance gone. Wilder
I
knocked
don't.
down
I don't.
by
No, I don't. I don't buy that. I don't think he just because he felt bad in the first round. I didn't see any ill effects into the third. He wasn't
no,
stumbling around into the third round. He
you
wasn't
saw
stumbling
that he
around
wasn't.
into
His
the third
legs
until
wasn't.
his ass got hit. He got hit in the first round, but I mean, he wasn't stumbling all about like he was in the third from the first to the second. He got caught a couple times when he got countered. When he tried to throw that little weak ass jab out there, and he got countered by Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was coming in, and he was aggressive and stuff like that. So,
I
I
think
it,
he did
the
have his
thing
legs
is, if it,
from jump.
and it also depends. I mean, you know, if he was the type of guy that would get real sick. I mean, like you said, he fought Ortiz with the flu. He was real small. I don't think so. Look, he would have been. Look, he said
Why
he was
didn't you think
okay.
so?
Listen, he said he was okay up until that fight. If that means he just caught the shit right then, that means the bug just hit him that night.
No,
He
because
was
he was
230
Oscar.
some. He was 230 some pounds.
True, he
You
was
lose weight when
overweight.
you lose weight and all that shit when you get sick with the COVID, right?
Yeah, because he was
He was
not. Yeah,
full. He was big as he ever was. He couldn't handle the weight. His frame couldn't support it. Whatever he couldn't support it. He wouldn't shake for the fight, and everything that could have happened bad to him happened, and it all ended up him getting his ass beat. And that's what happened. There wasn't
mm,
a COVID because if he had COVID, that means everybody else would have caught COVID. Now, if you had a pandemic, like if Tyson Fury caught COVID, and then everybody around JD's, Mark Breland, then of all those, if it was just some people around there at all caught COVID, Tyson Fury ain't never caught no fucking COVID, did he?
it doesn't go like that. I I had COVID, and my mum didn't have it, my kids didn't have it, and my brother didn't have it. Counterpunch.
I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, it does. But at the end of the day, somebody would have had COVID.
Mm. But what
What
I'm
about
saying,
Mark Breland? Mark Breland's sickly. He would have caught COVID and died.
mm, I don't
I
know.
mean, he
Yeah,
was right there feeding them water. He was feeding them the water. Him and JD's. One of them. Look, what you're telling me is what I'm saying. Somebody could have caught COVID. Should have
yeah,
caught COVID if he had COVID. He ain't
yeah.
have COVID, man. He ain't have COVID. He just had a bad night.
Do you
He ain't have
reckon?
juju either. He ain't have white privilege either. He had a
So,
bad night,
could you
and that
tell them
bad night
what
resulted of
Wild
him.
talk about?
Has Wilder come up with a million and a trillion excuses? Yes, he has. Do I go along with them? No, I don't. But with my logical head, and I have to, like I said, stand firm on thinking that him having the after effects of COVID was a possibility. Out of all the excuses, a definite possibility, in my opinion. So, yeah. So, anyway, just a quick chime in about that. Also, let me just clarify that I was talking about him not looking himself in the second fight. I think I kind of jumbled up and maybe miscommunicated it, that I was alluding to the first fight when I said a draw. Was trying to state that Wilder has fought ill and still won. No, the COVID issue wasn't for fight one with Fury, but I was talking about him fighting Luis Ortiz with the flu and still winning. So let me just clear that up. Also, with him gaining weight, coming up to 231 pounds. Now, between him going into the hospital with the flu, we don't know how much he weighed then. And then there was still a month in between him coming out of hospital until the fight, or just under a month. In just under a month, you can gain significant weight. Also, I don't think, Wilder definitely walks around at probably about 240 anyway, when he's not training. And I'm not of the belief that just because his legs are skinny, he couldn't hold himself up. Now, maybe he wasn't fight ready for real, but what I'm trying to say is you can still put on weight after being ill from COVID. I can go by my situation that just because you have COVID doesn't mean that you automatically lose loads of weight. I mean, I didn't lose loads of weight. Maybe 2 pounds. I was like not well for 6 days with a high temperature for 3 of those days. But I still had my appetite. I could smell it, but I couldn't taste. So what I'm saying is these things are not solidified facts. Everybody handles COVID different ways. So that's why I'm saying you can't just blow out the possibility of what I've said, what Kurt did. But effectively, yes, he's still lost. All I'm trying to say is that all of these things are possible because I'm going from someone that's had COVID as a personal account of what they said. So anyway, just a quick chime in about that. So, hey girl, this Leah the Shamrap nonetheless, come box with Chan. Gone. Rah.